Just hanging out outside. I was updating the whatchamacallit things on the license plate that you gotta do every year, like the insurance or something or whatever. It's fucking beautiful outside. I hate it. That's the point I'm trying to make. Um, and I was thinking about Sauter, Johnny Sauter, the man of the hour, as it were. If he's not going to be a part of the headlines, he will make himself a part of the headlines. Ain't that the truth? Johnny boy, he got a one race suspension from like my Michael Annette shirt. It's fucking lit. I know. It's only one sided though. There's nothing on the There's nothing on the back. It really wasn't worth the $21. But anyway, so anyway, yeah. The point that I'm trying to make is that when it comes to suspending Sauter for this, you knew it was going to have to happen because it is definitely very clear in the NASCAR rule book that if you target someone, especially under the caution pace, is what really made the difference here. I think the only reason that he was suspended is because he did it under caution. If he hadn't done it under caution, if he'd waited, until the restart and he drove back up, he really couldn't. You see, is the thing is that he was destroyed. The truck was pretty much destroyed. He was pretty much done anyway. So and he would not have definitely been able to get it repaired and up to minimum speed before the 5 minutes was up. That's kind of where I stand on this. So that was the only opportunity that I was going to have to retaliate until obviously this week when the time would have passed and they probably would have. You see, look at this shit. Just shave everything off once, and suddenly my fucking neck fat is back again, and I look like a goddamn 10-year-old. But that's really what the difference maker right there was. If he had not been too damaged to not be able to continue there, he probably would have um, kept going, and he probably would have wrecked Austin Hill, and it probably would not have come at the expense of Gateway. And if he'd waited to Gateway, it probably would have been a bit more suspicious. I don't know. I don't know. Johnny was really just in a no-win situation for this entire thing. And I don't really get the justification that he did it also at Texas, because the Texas race, he just got loose. And anytime that you drive on the outside of someone in a truck race, you need to expect that the inside's going to get loose, and you need to give that guy a little bit of extra room. Okay? That's just how things go. That's just what happens when you make every vehicle on the track as aerodynamically dependent as physically possible. Is that the air, any air whatsoever, is just going to disrupt absolutely everything. It's going to be nasty, is what it's going to be. Oh, is Skelly in the background at all? Skelly? There's Skelly. Um, yeah. So really, Johnny was just in a no-win situation in this one. I mean, he didn't necessarily have to take him out because, Jesus fucking Christ. He didn't necessarily have to take him out because it definitely, the wreck that Hill did to Sauter at Iowa was definitely intentional. But the Texas one was not. And you really can't use one race, just one wreck in one race, to justify another wreck in another race. It really doesn't. It doesn't add up there. Like, like, unless it's like, if it's two completely independent races of each other. And like, I get it because it was the race that it just happened. Like, if we were talking, like, if it was Rhodes who wrecked him at Iowa, and Sauter used like the 2016 Kansas race to try and justify wrecking him at Iowa. It's like, he wrecked me twice. He should have. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if he did. I wouldn't be mad if he did, I'll be honest. But yeah, that's a little bit more questionable. Since the immediacy bias is here, it makes a lot more sense from Johnny Sauter's perspective. But you really had to um, suspend him for this one, just because of like the rule book itself. And like, the worst part about this is that every single time that a driver gets suspended for wrecking someone else, you have to look back to the 2012 Phoenix race when the most blatant mid-caution dump in the history of NASCAR probably took place. And nothing came of it. Nothing came of it. Fucking actually getting out of the car and enduring fisticuffs in 2014 did more than actually hunting down and targeting someone under caution did in 2012. Just the worst non-call in NASCAR history is all that is. And it probably will remain that way till the end of time. They fucking killed Michael Waltrip Racing for Boyer just wrecking himself. But yeah, and that was just a year after that too, for that matter. It's just NASCAR's so full of shit. That's what it is. It's just NASCAR is so full of shit, and that's the worst part about this is that there was clear justification to suspend Johnny Sauter for wrecking Austin Hill under caution, and then they just had to go and fuck it up by being stupid in 2012 and not doing the same to Jeff Gordon. Like, Gordon was already out of the championship conversation at that point. Like, what did he have to lose besides his ego? Like, come on, dude. Was it? It was 2012 that Regan Smith ran the 88 for Dale Jr. for like 2 races, and he sucked in both of them. So he could have done it again. He could have ran the 24. Regan Smith, driver of the Exalta number 24. Imagine that. It wasn't Exalta back then. It was like Drive to End Hunger, wasn't it? No, Drive to End Hunger wasn't until 2014, I'm pretty sure. The point that I'm trying to make is that Sauter getting suspended is justified in the eyes of NASCAR, but you see, the problem is that they just dropped the ball so hard in the past, and they threw the rule book at Kenseth. And they did basically, you see, the best comparison probably for this one is going to be Kyle Busch and his most egregious act in NASCAR history. You know, that's another one of those things. Like, that's still, how long has it been? 8 years later, is still probably one of the most egregious acts of just fucking retardation. Am I denting my car by leaning up against it, by the way? I hope I'm not. I need to sell this at some point. It needs to retain at least some value. Just, that was one of the most egregious fucking acts in NASCAR history. And he got what? He had to sit out the rest of the weekend? Wasn't he back at fucking Phoenix? Like, give me a fucking break, dude. And you're going to suspend Sauter for 1 race for that? When, like, the championship is virtually unchanged as a result? Like, the most that this is going to change is Johnny Sauter doesn't have 7 bonus points in the chase. That he probably wasn't going to get anyway, because he's had nowhere near the same speed as all of his teammates. He only had 1 good race this season. 2 if you count Atlanta, I guess. Wasn't it Atlanta? Whichever race he tried to pass Busch, but it's impossible because Busch was in Jesus Mobile by Rudy Fugle. Rudy Fugle, trademark Jesus Mobile. You can't touch this. Maybe it's the MC Hammer Mobile, more like. That's a nice dated reference for all y'all. But thankfully, it's a really that was a huge pop culture moment, and it's still getting referenced to this day. You know what? What memes are we going to look back on like 10 years from now? And they're still going to be like big pop culture, you know, in the public canon, you know? Like, can't touch this. And like Friends and shit, you know? What are we going to look back on in 10 years? Are we going to look back on fucking Harambe? I hope we do. Harambe is honestly one of the greatest memes of all time. But anyway, yeah, that's just what I'm trying to say, is that they park Busch for the rest of the weekend. They didn't even fucking suspend his ass in the Truck Series, I don't think. And then they're going to suspend Sauter for that? Like, at least he had, at least something happened beforehand. Like, dude, Hornaday just got loose. And Busch ended his championship hopes. The championship isn't even fucking decided yet. We don't even know who's going to be racing for it. And Sauter gets suspended. It's just, there's so much inconsistency over all these years of just bad call after bad call. And it's just, and now we're stuck in and now you get placed in a position where if you do nothing, then there was, you know, what's the legal term? What's the legal term? Prescience? I don't know what the legal term is. I haven't taken a law class in a year, so I don't fucking know. But like, you know, if you don't call anything, a call from the past from NASCAR will say they should have, and if they do call, then a call from the past will say that they shouldn't have. That's a no-win situation because NASCAR is run by morons. Basically, that's the moral of the story. NASCAR is run by morons. Thank you for watching. This has been a great video, and I hope you enjoyed it.